Good morning and welcome to Lorain County Board of Commissioners. It's Friday, September 22nd, 2023. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Commissioner Moore,
I am here.
Commissioner Riddell,
Here.
Commissioner Hung.
Here.
We have a quorum. A, resolutions, number 1, investments.
These are today's investments. I move to approve.
Second?
Discussion. Commissioner Moore,
Aye.
Commissioner Hung.
Yes.
Commissioner Riddell.
Aye.
Number 2, appropriations.
I move to approve.
Second?
Discussion. Commissioner Moore,
Aye.
Commissioner Hung,
Yes.
Commissioner Riddell.
Aye.
Number 3, transfers.
Move to approve.
Second?
Discussion. Commissioner Moore,
I got a hand gesture here to my right. Did you want to say something?
Bob, did you want to explain the two transfers for the county engineer?
Where'd KC go?
Where's Casey?
Oh, okay.
Commissioner, he normally handles those. Generally, they're pass-throughs. Like I saw one was for Pheasant Run. Thinking like Pheasant Run, we do the billing and then we in turn then transfer the funds to the village of LaGrange. But we pay them for the wastewater treatment. I believe that's what most of these are, but Casey will tell exactly.
Very
As
good.
he's
as
walking
he's
in.
walking in, yeah.
Yeah, when you're not here, we talk about you. So who are we gonna talk about now?
That's okay, Bob. That was what we were looking for.
Okay, so we good?
Yes.
Actually, the first one here, that would be for the, I believe for the Crest Haven. We're doing an improvement to that wastewater treatment plant over in the Crest Haven subdivision. And I think that's on the agenda today to award to the contractor to line the tanks there.
Very good.
Okay.
Anything further?
Oh.
Commissioner Moore,
Aye.
Commissioner Hung,
Yes.
Commissioner Riddell.
Aye.
Number 4, advances, repayments. There were none. Number 5, requisitions.
We have 3 pages today. This is page 1. Any questions? If not, page 2. And see no questions, page 3. Okay, I move to approve pages 1, 2, and 3 of our requisitions.
Second?
Discussion. Commissioner Moore,
Aye.
Commissioner Hung,
Yes.
Commissioner Riddell.
Aye.
Number 6, travel.
Okay, this is our travel request. It's nice to see that commissioners and sheriff's departments are going down to view some jails next week, so this is cool. Move to approve travel.
Second?
Discussion. Commissioner Moore,
Aye.
Commissioner Riddell,
Aye.
Commissioner Hung.
Yes.
Number 7, bills.
I've got 2 pages of bills. Any questions on page 1? If not, page 2. Okay, go back to page 1. Okay, move to approve pages 1 and 2.
Second?
Discussion. Commissioner Moore,
Aye.
Commissioner Hung,
Yes.
Commissioner Riddell.
Aye.
Number 8, commissioners may recess an executive session and consider the appointment, employment, dismissal, discipline, promotion, demotion, or compensation of a public employee or official.
Okay, we're not gonna be going into executive session today. If you could, oh, sorry. Oh, wait a minute. This is probably better to show. Or you got the one? Yeah, put that under if that's your original. Put that under. Okay, yeah, this is today's personnel summary sheet we're voting on today.
Just for the record, I'm not being reappointed as commissioner, but I was appointed to the Nowaka Economic Development Subcommittee to represent Lorain County.
It was a new committee that they just formed, correct? That's my understanding?
Correct.
Yeah. And,
Hopefully they'll do well at that.
okay.
Karen, want to talk about the airport advisory board?
I don't think so. Do you? No. So board, oh, we got new appointment? Okay, 2 of those. Community development, we got a couple of new hires, but this is pretty much a lot of board appointments on here, so. Any questions? If not, move to approve.
Second?
Any further discussion? Commissioner Moore?
Aye.
Commissioner Hung?
Yes.
Commissioner Riddell?
Aye.
Thanks.
Public comment on agenda items?
I don't think anybody had anything on agenda items here. Nope.
No? Is there any old business?
Man, I thought I had some old business here, but, nope, I can't.
No?
Nope.
Board business, number 9, sanitary engineer, award and enter into contract with Southern Industrial Linings, Inc. of Valley, Rica, Georgia, in the amount of $360,860 for the Cresthaven Homes wastewater treatment plant, aeration tank, and clarifier lining project. This is the only bid that was received on September 14th and will be paid from the capital improvements account. Work consists of lining the existing steel aeration tanks and clarifiers with an epoxy liner. Notice to proceed will be issued and completed by October 31st of 2024, and authorize administrator to notify the auditor to release retainage at completion of project.
So moved.
Second?
Discussion.
You want to discuss? Anything you want to add to this?
Just to, Jen, this is one, as Lorain County, we operate 4 wastewater treatment plants.
Okay.
There's 2 of them with the 6119 that we're working with Mr. Armbruster to, hopefully those will go away, we'll be able to eliminate those. This plant, right now, there's no immediate way to eliminate it, so we'll need to keep operating it. Right now, the steel tanks are so old, they're starting to develop holes in them, so there's a process where they come in, clean the tanks, they line it with an epoxy liner to extend the life of the treatment plant.
Okay. Okay, thanks.
Anything further? Commissioner Moore?
Aye.
Commissioner Hung?
Yes.
Commissioner Riddell?
Aye.
Under the airport, 10, approve and enter an agricultural land lease agreement with Kruger Farms LLC to farm 616 tillable acres at the airport for 3 years, effective March 1st of 2024 through February 8th of 2027. 4 bids were received on June 21st. This was deemed the most responsible bid at $200 per acre. The county will receive $157,777 annually. Authorize administrator to execute all necessary documents on behalf of the board with prosecutor's approval as to form.
So moved.
Second?
Discussion.
Yes. Karen, how are we doing on the, okay, let me rephrase this. Let's talk about not only this, but what else is happening with this land. How's that?
Okay, so I guess a little history. Whenever the county is looking to farm its lands, we go through a process just like a bidding process, but instead of getting the lowest bid, we take the highest bid. So in this particular case, we will have a new farmer that will be farming the agricultural lands at the airport. Our previous farmer has been farming those lands for over 40 years. So it's a turnover. I've spoken with the previous farmer. However, he was disappointed, but he understood the process, so all is right with the world. The lease agreement has several clauses within it that allows us to basically take back our land for other uses if we need to, and then depending on the time of the year or how much money the farmer has put towards land, whether it's fertilizer, however they prepare the land, or if they have crops on the land, we would basically have to pay them for whatever monies that they've put towards farming the land in order to take the land back. Yes. So, let's see. Now, we've also went to the FAA and requested a release of non-aeronautical land. About 350 acres of the 616 is a part of that request. So the idea is we're not using it for aeronautical use. It's non-aeronautical used land. And if we have an opportunity to use that land for future commercial development, it gives us the ability to do so.
Okay.
Explain it?
Yeah, that's good background. The thing is, I got a lot of calls on this because basically the farmer resides outside the county. And we tried, it should have been approved a while ago. I talked to the prosecutor's office. there's really much our hands were tied because the way our bidding process went. Number two, the farmers do put a lot of investment in their land when they do this. And my concern is with the work that, our team is doing in regards to the airport, is we're trying to get some of that land so that some of the companies that we're talking to that wish to move here, if we decide to make a move next year on this property, we don't want to be obligated for 3 years of a lease agreement and have to pay or lose economic development opportunities that are coming. I'm not saying may come, I'm saying that are coming to Lorain County. We have some of the biggest assets that most of these national and international companies are looking for in Lorain County. We have land, we have water, and the airport has a lot of, already has infrastructure in place. So this is something that we were working on for quite some time. I know it was a tug of war, not only with the FAA, but also trying to keep the money local with our farmers. And unfortunately, it didn't go the way the local gentleman did not get that bid. But this is some good money for the airport. Unfortunately, it's, I was hoping we could get the original farmer, but he was upset and he understood, so.
I mean, I did speak with him. I called him, and before anything was finalized, to explain to him why we were doing what we were doing. So the 157,000 plus that we get annually does go back to the airport. It does not go into the county general fund. It goes to the airport to assist us in operating the airport. I believe this is about $30,000 more than what we were receiving under our previous contract. So, we've done what we could in order to make everybody happy. It's a very difficult thing to do, but we do try to do that on almost everything that we do.
Okay. I actually ran on this in 2000 because back then they were getting $60 an acre and they weren't going out to bids. So that was $36,000 a year. So now we're getting a little bit more than $60,000 a year, but farmland's like that. So Jeff, yeah.
Yes. Karen, you mentioned that sometimes farmers have infrastructure they put in place based on the future. Have we cleared the slate with the old farmer that, he's fully amortized on any improvements he made? We don't owe him any money?
That's correct. So
Okay.
he'll harvest his crops for the year, and as soon as he's finished with his harvest, then we'll notify the new farmer, and he'll come in and prepare the soils for the next season.
Good deal.
Thanks. Thanks for the history.
Anything further? Commissioner Moore?
Aye.
Commissioner Hung?
Yes.
Commissioner Riddell?
Aye.
Number 11, engineer entering a cooperation agreement between Lorain County and Columbia Township for the reconstruction of Root Road from Sprague Road to Station Roads in Columbia and Eden Townships. September 2023, Columbia Township submitted an application to OPWC for funding assistance. Root Road is county highway from Sprague to Anderson and Township Highway from Anderson to Station. Lorain County Engineer and Columbia Township agreed to participate jointly on this project.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Commissioner Moore?
Aye.
Commissioner Hung?
Yes.
Commissioner Riddell?
Aye.
Under the Sheriff, 12, dispose obsolete or unfit property in accordance with the Ohio Revised Code 307.12 from Lorain County Sheriff's Office to Wellington Police Department, 15 Remington 870 shotguns in the amount of $1,188.75.
So moved.
Second. Oh, sorry.
Discussion?
Go ahead.
Is there any comment in regards to this? Would you like to speak to it, or? Okay. It's $79.25 a gun's a good deal.
It is a good deal, but it's equipment that we can no longer use, Commissioner, and obviously it's going to another police department that really needs it in Wellington.
Okay.
So I think it's a good trade instead of us just trying to trade them in and get money and they get sold on the streets. They're going to go to another police department, which I think is a great thing.
That's a good thing. Okay.
Thank you.
Are you feeling okay?
I'm hanging in there.
Well,
Yep.
I appreciate the mask.
Anything further? Commissioner Moore?
Aye.
Commissioner Hung?
Yes.
Commissioner Riddell?
Aye.
Public comment.
Michael DiCarlo. Good morning, welcome back.
Morning, Mr. President, Commissioners. Michael DiCarlo, Vermillion, Ohio. Come to speak to you today on government accountability in the big picture of things. It's continuous process improvement, just more perfect representative government type stuff. The big concern, if you remember, I had a concern about the radio systems, the countywide radio system. The big concern I have about that system is not that the people that are operating it, it's what can be done with it. They're going to be operating in the same frequency ranges that Big Chuck and Little John was broadcast on when I was a kid, right? And that frequency range was able to go down in people's basements and stuff. Okay, I'm a big proponent of the castle doctrine, where people were advertised to in order to induce them to come outside to engage in society and engage in trade, which was taxed. And that was the trade-off, right? We advertised to get you to come out of your house and engage in society, and we provided this for you in a safe environment, and that's why it's taxed. Now we're going to use those same frequency bands to be in people's homes all the time. So you're not advertising to people, but that frequency is going to be there all the time, and that radio is going to be manned 24 hours a day. And if it's not, then we shouldn't use it to begin with. The concern I have with that, combined with like the license plate readers that have been installed around the different municipalities within the county, is that as a retired warrior, and that's what my perspective, it's Field Manual Army Field Manual 24.3 in the United States Navy or Marine Corps Field Manual 33.3, it's counterinsurgency warfare. This is what we've been doing since Vietnam, and we're bringing it home, and we're giving the folks to do this stuff the same equipment we had to do to our enemy. Now, none of you are my enemy. I want you all to eat, you know? But those are concerns that we, as a citizens, need to be aware of so that we can manage this in a way. Because where I'm from, a radio system with a tremendous amount of capabilities, with very few limitations, that is federally funded, is verboten. Does that make sense? And the big thing, that's just, we got to manage this. It's going to happen. We got to manage it. We got to make sure we manage it. Because if we don't, it has the potential to run amok to a degree that goes beyond my comprehension and yours at this time. Because if it happened elsewhere with the same equipment, there ain't no reason it's not going to happen here. Thank you very much. Have a good morning. Have a great weekend. And good to see you.
Thanks for coming in. Sheriff? Here you go.
Morning, Commissioners. It's unfortunate that I have to be here again today over my 2023 budget. I'm just tired of this stuff with you guys. And I'm going to call it out. It's particularly Commissioner Riddell and more. It's like you guys have weaponized my budget against me, my employees, and my staff. And I'm tired of it. You got this budget director over here who's taking all your orders now because he's afraid to get fired by you guys. I've never had a problem with him before, ever, in my 23 years. He's been there, 5 years? Lisa Hobart was there before that. This money that we had for grants or SROs and everything has always been paid back to the sheriff's office, always. And I called you out on this, Commissioner Moore, in January, when you singled my funding out, the sheriff's office funding. Nobody else's. It's funny that nobody else is getting messed here but me as a sheriff. And you always bring up, I didn't support you for commissioner. You are exactly right, I didn't, because this is exactly, I knew what was going to happen. But you guys mess with me now, and I'm tired of it. Yeah, am I frustrated? My employees are frustrated. Like I told you before, they're worried. And you bring this up, oh, don't worry, your budget's going to be there. That's not the point. We could have had some money. Maybe we could have bought some equipment. Maybe we could have done some different things. But you guys hang on to that and play games with it. You wanted to meet, we met with you twice. Casey, I get it. He wasn't there the other day, but my secretary called him on Wednesday. He was there all day Wednesday. Never returned a phone call. So I'm just tired of it. You guys playing games here. We got what? Now you want to give it to me in October, and we got 10 weeks left in the year. So I'm frustrated, and I don't want to say something that I don't want to say, but I'm just tired of the game playing with you guys, and I mean it. I'll let Captain Bosley talk.
Thank you. Captain Bosley?
Morning, Commissioners. I just wanted to cover a couple of things. One, I know we'd sent correspondence over. We've been communicating back and forth since January in regards to this issue. Previously, when we brought the issue up, we were told by the budget director that these reappropriations would be done quarterly. We're now 80% through the fiscal calendar year. We still don't have this money appropriated to us, even though we've done everything that we can conceivably do to show that the money has come into us and we've put reappropriations in. The last meeting we had, we were told that if if the information was shown by Thursday morning, it would be on the appropriations today. We got everything we could to the commissioners by Wednesday. We can't do the research of the budget director, but the troubling thing to me in this entire regard is we've been doing reappropriations for these funds throughout the entire year. Why wasn't that research done until hopefully tomorrow? But we've done reappropriations and they've completely been ignored if you don't even know that the money's not there. I don't even know why a large portion of it needs to be researched, because almost $500,000 of the request is pay raises that were contractually issued that this commission approved that we've never received the funds for. It's almost $500,000 of the request that we have. So I don't even know what research has to be done on that, because you've received the contractual expenses from Clemens Nelson as to what these budgets will increase with the contracts. You approved the contracts, but didn't provide the funding. And lastly, the other concern that I have is we have over $300,000 in grants that were awarded after the 2023 budget was resolved. We've been told that money was put into the general fund. I firmly believe that that is a violation of the regulations and requirements of the grantors in regards to it, because grant money has to be used for the specific intent in which the grant was written. To put it in the general fund and withhold it from us is a violation of those terms. And at the end of the year, that will probably have to be reported.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. President. Mr. President,
What?
can I direct a question to Casey?
Go ahead.
Casey, I'm just, you and I have had these conversations, particularly concerned as we get towards the end of the year and having enough funds in there for the sheriff to cover payroll, especially with the auditor having his shutdowns that he does in December. So can you kind of expand on that, and if they're going to have enough money to make payroll?
Well, like I said, so we've had those meetings and we discussed, so as we get closer to the end of the year, based on the projections that we received from the sheriff, towards the end of the year, probably November, I don't know the exact date, but more November, December, they would likely run out of appropriations by that time. We have been meeting with the sheriff and his team, and we've been working towards that resolution. And I believe coming out of our last meeting on Tuesday, I believe that we're all on the same page, that we were going to cross some T's and dot some I's and do some confirmation, but that the appropriations would be placed in front of you today if possible, but more than likely it would be on October 3rd, the next following meeting.
Okay, thanks for answering that. I mean, you could see the concern, October, we're getting towards the end of the year.
No, we've gone through,
October.
we've gone through 3 quarters. This is for the final quarter. So, they started out at 1.2 million requests. I'd like to appreciate that you got it down, meeting with the sheriff's staff, Casey. You guys worked at a great meeting on Tuesday. Everybody agreed that October 3rd was acceptable, and something happened between Thursday, I guess, Wednesday and Thursday. Don't know what, but this isn't a debate. So, Jeff?
I guess, Commissioner, I want to rebut that because it was not decided it was October 3rd. There's no reason you guys couldn't put this on the agenda this morning. You're a commissioner. There's
Yeah,
been
you're-
emergencies
yeah.
where you can put something on as appropriation whenever you want.
Correct, Casey.
So this is an excuse to me, is another excuse.
No, the money's
My
there.
people even told you, Casey, if we got you that information by Wednesday, it would probably be on the agenda Friday, which is today.
And Sheriff, and respectfully, we didn't realize there was a sense of urgency to get it on this Friday, because like I said, based on the discussions we had, and I was, like I said, I was out yesterday, I had a member of my staff out yesterday. Again, we probably could have got it on for today, but leaving that meeting on Tuesday, we didn't believe there was a great sense of urgency. It wasn't expressed and we didn't see it based on the current numbers. we didn't see a great urgency to get it on, to rush it on, to get it on today. We
I've been
thought
saying this
the
for
third
9
was-
months. And here we are still with the same argument over and over again. It's the old rope-a-dope to me.
No.
Yeah, it is.
I told you at the fair, it's not you. It's
Yeah.
going to be happening to the rest of the elected
Yeah.
officials. I'm
And
telling you,
What
this
other
type,
elected officials has this happened to this year for 2023?
they're not coming up. They're talking to
I've
Casey.
never heard it.
Well,
You told me Commissioner Riddell had the problems.
No.
That's why we met with him twice.
Oh, yeah,
You told
you
me
have
that at
met
the
with-
fair.
yeah, you have
He's
met
the
with
one that's
them.
got the questions.
Yeah.
We met with him twice. I thought we answered all his questions. Obviously, he's got more. I don't know.
I think they got answered. Yeah.
Okay. Sheriff, first of all, we need to take the political rhetoric out of this. We're not weaponizing your budget. We're trying to understand that your budget operates entirely different than everybody else. Everybody else has their budget. If they have an emergency, they come back for it. Your budget is $12 million, and then you have all these other appropriations that occur all through the year. We're just trying to understand it, and I'm no different than you were the first day you were sheriff. I need to understand this. Secondly, you came to us with a request for about $800 and some $1,000. After Casey doing his job, working with your staff, it came back at $536.
All he looks at is payroll. He don't look at anything that you might need to buy. He goes from payroll to payroll to look at what are you paying out?
I'd like to finish. On
Go
that.
ahead.
We've known each other for 20 years, and you didn't support me, but I supported you every year, just for the record.
It's easy to say. Go ahead.
For all the people that mistook me for Ken Carney at your fundraiser, I can bring them up here. I was there. Okay? So, but at the end of the day, we need to understand where the money's coming from, and as we've indicated, this is a prelude to the 24 budget, which is gonna be a difficult conversation, and you have the most difficult budget, okay? The appropriations, I've already asked Casey after Tuesday's meeting, why is it that we commissioners don't know that the money's there? If the appropriation comes in and it goes to the auditor, why don't we know that it's there?
It's a good question. I agree. I
don't know. And so, I'm the new kid on the block. I don't have the 20 years experience. But to me, if a check comes in, I'm used to getting a report from my bookkeeper that says, hey, boss, these checks came in. I don't know why they're not there. All we asked for on Tuesday was confirmation that, in fact, the money was there so that we could get it to you. And I understand that Casey's received, if not all of it, the lion's share of it, and we'll make that transfer shortly. Okay, but your budget is about $1.2 million or $1.3 million more than it was at the beginning of the year. And I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't ask the questions. None of them are surreptitious, none of them are ill-willed, we just need to understand that. And when we left the meeting on Tuesday, I'm shocked that we're having this level of controversy this morning, because when we left Tuesday, everybody was in accordance, we made some progress, and all we were asking for was some backup, and we were ready to go.
And I wasn't there Tuesday, but I talked to my people, and
As I told you this morning on the phone, you're talking to the only guy who actually worked every day this week.
and so do my
I
people.
understand you were
24
yelling,
hours a
I
day,
understand
7 days
Casey
a week.
was out, but you're yelling at me, I was here every day.
I'm not yelling at anybody. I'm just making a point. Like I said, this money should have been put back in our budget, as it always has been, starting in January.
I
It
understand.
changed when you two came in. That's the first time it
And you brought that
changed.
to our attention in July, okay?
Prior to that, I even brought it to your attention.
Well, in July, you gave us the list of where you were gonna be short. And that's when we went to work, and we didn't get our first meeting till 2 weeks ago.
I always like what Dan Telerik said a long time ago as a county treasurer. He said, it's like me giving my kid a $1 allowance, and now I'm gonna tell him how to spend every nickel of it. We don't spend our money foolishly out there. You're right, we get a budget, you can look, mine's transparent. You guys like to talk about transparency? Anybody can see what we spend our money on. I signed all the requisitions, nobody else does. So we need it for vehicles, equipment, there's a lot of things we need, but these grants, like Captain Bozzi said, we go out and get those, we seek grants. And then when we get them, and then we don't get reimbursed back for them. You cannot do that with our budget. And I agree with him. He's a budget director, he should know that. You're taking federal and state grant money, that's illegal.
No, what we're doing, I thought we're advancing that money, aren't we not? Or are we getting reimbursed for it? How's that work?
Well, I mean.
Because it depends on which one we're talking about, right?
There's several different grants.
Yeah.
That would be in question here, yeah.
Okay.
Yes, and for the record, Chair, we shared it on Tuesday. Your original appropriation that you were granted in your budget for January, at the end of August, which is 8 months, 2/3 of the year, you were 2/3 exactly on budget. You were like 1/2 of 1%.
And you didn't include any of the grants that we get back.
I
None of them.
understand that, and we're trying to understand why they weren't in the budget. Captain Bosley has handled that. As we go forward, these things will be in the budget.
Okay, but I look at it this way, the
Okay.
rules were changed at the beginning of the year.
We've already admitted that. We've
Well,
already
that's the
admitted
only thing I'm arguing. That's why
No.
we should have, he likes to go, oh, you're only 500 back. No, we're more than that.
Right.
I even brought up about the environmental guys. You guys dumped that on me at the last minute in December. So we had to absorb 2 officers for $250,000 more.
Well, yeah, but you also were short 8 deputies, so I thought it was a pretty good wash.
Well, how's that a wash?
Because
You're trying to hire
you're-
people. You're not
Yeah,
saying, well, guess what? You didn't hire
Well,
like
instead of
20 people,
having-
so now you
well,
saved a lot of money.
Well, instead of having 2 environmental, they were out on road patrol or wherever you moved them.
Yeah, they're still doing environmental
And
stuff.
we're still, well, that's good.
But
But we're
like I say, I'm
also,
not gonna sit here and argue with you. It's just,
Well-
I just want what's due to us at the sheriff's office and quit this game plan.
Right.
You told me the old kumbaya, I thought a couple
Oh, yeah,
months ago, we
yeah.
had it straightened out.
I thought so too.
Obviously, that did not happen.
And I heard on Tuesday it was worked out even better until I heard this morning at 6 a.m. we're getting emails and I'm looking at this going like October 3rd, it's the last quarter of the year and you're
It
getting
should have
your
been on
quarter.
today's agenda, Commissioner. I don't care. Hey, you
Well,
just
there are
transferred.
people in this room, Phil, that if we don't have it on the agenda Thursday morning at 9 o'clock, 24 hours in advance, we get taken to task because we didn't give people a chance to prepare for the
I
meeting.
understand it, but I think we got the
So,
information to you soon enough.
That rule has nothing to do with you. That has to do with the entire workings of the government. If we don't have it on in 24 hours, unless it's absolutely imperative, and your checking count is not empty,
And
But
according
and
to,
it won't go empty.
You're making my deputies very nervous, and it's like you say, it's hard to hire people
Mm-hmm.
when they think they might get laid off at the end of the year.
I don't see any purpose in getting any
Yeah, I mean,
layoffs, so I don't see that at all.
Not at all.
Okay, I guess we're okay then.
We are.
We are.
Okay? Thank
You
you.
know,
Yeah. I even gave you a shout out last night at the township trustee meeting in regards to our bunny battle. County Administrator, do you have anything to add? Or am I jumping? Oh, yeah, it's his turn. Okay.
I probably should stay out of that
Okay.
skirmish. Yes, I do have something to add, but then I stay out of the skirmish. Actually, I want to hand it over to Director Berner. We've been out for 2 different meetings, one to the mayors and managers as well as to Avon Lake Group. There's about 60 there, and the mayors and managers the other day in LCC. Got 2 really good, great levies on the board, and Rob can bring you up to date as to what our presentation is at 911. And then Julian's here to talk about the crime lab. Actually, Frank, doctor, is with Julian at the presentations, and we've got 3 or 4 more to do to talk about the levies. Rob?
Thank you, and thank you, Commissioners. Just to give you a quick update, we're talking about to the different organizations why we have a levy on the ballot. Not telling them you have to vote yes or no, we're just telling them why we have a levy on the ballot and what the purpose is. And basically, as you know, we take over 430,000 phone calls per year, and we dispatch for law enforcement, EMS, and fire in the county, and along with we do warrants for the sheriff's office and a couple other dispatch centers. We do have a busy schedule throughout September and October. We're going to be meeting with the Chronicle Telegram on October 3rd. We're meeting with the League of Women Voters on October 4th, and we're meeting with the Lorain County Township Association's October 19th, along with Lorain County Police Chiefs on October 19th and the Lorain County Fire Chiefs on October 26th. Our meetings have been going very well. We're basically just presenting the facts, and we get a lot of questions and a lot of concerns from the public, and we think it's going very well. So if any of the commissioners have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them at this time.
I had the ability to witness one of the presentations, and I was very impressed. The commissioners have included the 911 and the crime lab levy in our commentary for the September and October newsletters to try and, pave the way. But I will say that the public is asking all the right questions, and I commend our team for going out in public and actually making that personal touch to explain and answer questions.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Even Jillian became a public speaker this year.
Let's not get used to that. Good morning. So to add, we are, discussing the relevancy of the crime lab as it pertains to the increase in the levy. So the lab performs about 50,000 urine drug screens for citizens that are enrolled in our family court programs for Lorain County Job and Family Services and our rehab centers throughout the county. And the lab also supports our law enforcement agencies. We receive about 1,500 pieces of evidence annually that require chemical analysis and aids in removing illicit drugs off of the streets. Our lab was awarded a grant in 2022 for $250,000, which was used to purchase new and additional equipment to position the lab to maintain its current volume. But we need additional technology to eliminate our backlog and position our lab to move forward in the field of forensics. In July, the lab became accredited. The Seized Drug Chemistry Division was awarded accreditation and evaluated against over 200 requirements to become accredited. And accreditation of the crime lab demonstrates that our lab is performing work which adheres to the globally recognized standard practices of the forensic science industry. So it's a great accomplishment. And again, we're just asking for the support. Our lab is vital to the community, and it's essential to our judicial process, and we're just hoping to gain support of the citizens.
Any questions? Appreciate you coming in today.
To continue the positive
Comments. I guess to my chagrin, maybe not to Karen's and Jeff Riddell's, who was in my meeting the other day, we started talking about the 6119 and my conversation prior to that with both Commissioner Hung and Commissioner Moore. I thought that based on the technical values and the process that Reftelis was going to go through, that they technically could be approved as a technical advisor without going out for qualifications. But our Dan Petticourt and his group over there, yesterday afternoon about 4 o'clock, put a kind of damper on my quest to move this along at light speed and said that no, this is a consultant contract and we need to go out for qualifications. So we've got a few weeks setback, and not a setback, but we're going to go out for qualifications. Karen's going to get those out probably next week, and we'll go through it and qualify the individuals and companies that, in this case, Reftelis is not an engineering firm. They're actually do the technical advice to set up this 6119. But there are other companies outside of the state of Ohio that have offices that possibly would be interested in bidding on this process. So we're going to open it up and as instructed and move it along. We also had a conversation, Karen and I, this week with the U.S. EPA in Chicago with at the request of Vermillion. They were on our phone call, Mayor Fothover and his team with Karen and I with regards to asking the U.S. EPA for some relief on their possibly moving in with the 6119. So we did get some positive comments from the U.S. EPA, the individual we were talking to. We look forward to working with them to see if that can't be part of the process of the 6119 formation to bring Vermillion in the beginning rather than several years down the road. And as you mentioned, the jail tour we're leaving next Wednesday at 3 o'clock in the afternoon to start all the way the next morning at 9 o'clock in the morning at the Warren Jail, which is brand new in the last couple of years, or 3 years, I believe. And we're going to go through that jail with the sheriff's staff, with administration. Karen and I and Dan Gross are going down in Hills Consulting. And we have somebody from the Department of Corrections with us too, Ohio Department of Corrections to just go with us through both jails. And we're going to go through Franklin County in the afternoon and be back here probably about 7 o'clock to get a firsthand experience of what a new jail should or should not look at, with the possibilities of maybe taking those plans and using them with an architect that we hire to save the county some money. That completes my report.
I see that you have the director of EMA here. I don't want to ignore him totally. Oh, sorry, was Karen? Did you have?
Well, I was just going to mention, I think Mr. Armbruster may have forgotten, we do have interviews set up for architectural firms
Oh, do
for
you?
our jail
Okay.
Monday afternoon.
Oh, Monday?
Right.
Okay.
So hopefully we'll have a selection, a recommendation to the
And
board.
basically, hopefully down there, when you do your visits, they might be able to give us their plans and maybe save us a few bucks, right? I thought last night at the Township Trustee Association meeting, our director of EMA, Mr. Freeman, actually did a good presentation on the train derailment exercises. I didn't know if you'd want to follow up. I thought it was a good presentation. If you want to
I
share.
could give a quick update on
Yeah.
it. So we had Norfolk Southern come in. They did 6 classes for us, 6 4-hour classes. 3 of them were completely booked. The other 3 were pretty full. And it was for the first responders of the community. We had a lot of Lorain County first responders go through, and actually some from Cuyahoga came in as well. And what they looked at is first rail yard safety, and then documents and shipping documents on the trains. And then they went over the trains themselves. And they have a really interesting prop they put together that's a flat car that has multiple valve systems on it so that you can see them graphically right in front of you, and they teach you what each one means and how to shut them down. And I think the most important thing I learned from that after 30 years of studying train cars, and I talked about this last night, is that really you only need to know 2 things, what's on the top and what's on the bottom, and that tells you everything you need to know about what's in the car. And we are caught up in this process as firefighters where we've learned, 20, 30 different types of cars and tried to memorize those profiles. And really, talking to the experts, they just broke it down and made it very simple. And they talk a little bit about safety on the trains. They actually went through extrication of someone in a locomotive, because you see these monstrous locomotives and you think, they're huge. You go inside of them and it's like a closet. Really the only way to remove someone from a train who was having a heart attack or some type of medical issue is almost through a window. So they talked about that process and how you would go through that. And then some safety around the locomotives themselves, because there are so many electrical systems and hydraulic systems in place. So it was a fantastic class to bring here. I'm happy we got it, and I think it has a lot of benefit for us.
Okay. Well, thank you. It was a good presentation last night. Yeah. Anything else? You guys are good?
Yep. Okay. So Tuesday, September 26th, we're supposed to have our stormwater meeting, but I think we're going to move it to October 3rd at 9:30 if everybody's okay with that. Because you're not going to be here anyways, but I didn't know.
Well, the 3rd I am.
The 3rd you will, but not the 26th. But I didn't hear from the other 2.
Oh, I was available.
You
It
were
was on my
available?
schedule
Okay.
already.
I don't know about Commissioner Riddell. I didn't
Commissioner
hear
Riddell?
anything, so.
It's on my schedule.
What, for the
we wanna
3rd?
meet The 26th?
For the 26th?
I'm fine.
Yep. Yeah, we're supposed to meet as a group with the Chronicle in regards to the levies. Make sure you got that in, guys. You guys all do good work, so.
We'll keep it and we'll discuss later.
Okay, thank you.
And then Tuesday, October 3rd at 4:30 will be Commissioners' meeting in regards to a public hearing for PY23 CDBG, and then 5 PM our Commissioners' meeting. Board correspondence?
Move to waive the reading of the board correspondence.
Second?
Discussion? Commissioner Moore?
Aye.
Commissioner Riddell?
Aye.
Commissioner Hung?
Yes.
Is there any new business?
Nope. Nope. Guess we're adjourned. Thanks for coming in. What?
October 3rd, we're starting at 4:30 and 20.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, that one should take like 15, 20 minutes, that one, but then,
Walking over here earlier.
Yeah, we don't want to walk in.
Every time I think about that, I think of the clock, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm like,
Bonnie to show up and, start saying, what's up?
so where do I sign this one?
Sign, huh?
You need, yeah, there's a few that you need to sign.
I'm gonna go, you don't sign that one.
No,
You pass
that's
that
only
down.
you.
Once you go over a salary, you have to go to the.
Well, I think it's different thing.
Tell us getting campaign season, can't you there, Mr. Commissioner? Oh, I guess just, you gotta sign that one. They got more than enough of their money, and they're trying to create a false narrative. That's what they're doing. It's not true. It's
120,
campaign.
but it's today.
22nd.
The Deeders case, which you might want to look at. It's $75,000. For the stadium. And they have to do it. How do I get?
Okay, so that, I leave it in the folder for you?
You do whatever you like to do. I'm just making it easier for you guys to do.
The resolutions that were put. Well, Teresa and I could get them. Because
What happened is, the resolution passed.
You're missing a line on one of the commissioner's signatures on this one. I thought since the budget, or since the personnel summary sheet was more about appointments, that's why I put it on there. So,
if you read the one in Cincinnati, and I talked to all my buddies, that was where they can pull it back, and it was a good fight over pulling it back in that, but it was with the outside counsel, because they didn't have enough counsel inside. I get it, proper and stuff, but when you continue to go out, as soon as you get to that level, you
campaigning again over
have
here.
to spell it out in every one of those resolutions. And it has to show when it went to court, it's a whole piece.
Hello.
thanks, Vic.
How are you?
We're good, Victor.